anti-racist odes, often printed on the same page and without editorial comment. Although extreme, A White Girl's Prayer spoke for many who longed for the exotic utopia they imagined Harlem could offer, just as Nancy Cunard's 1930 voiced the belief of some white women that they could speak for or as blacks. Introduction. In Search of Miss Anne. There were many white faces at the 1925 Opportunity Awards dinner. So far they have been merely walk-ons in the story of the new Negro, but they became instrumental forces in the Harlem Renaissance. Steve Watson, The Harlem Renaissance. You know, it won't be easy to explain the white girl's attitude, that is, so that her actions will seem credible. Carl Van Vechten, Nigger Heaven. I did not set out to write this book. Some years back, in the course of writing Zora Neale Hurston, A Life in Letters, I needed, but could not find, information on the many white women Hurston knew and befriended in Harlem: hostesses, editors, activists, philanthropists, patrons, writers, and others. There was ample material about her black Harlem Renaissance contemporaries: midwife Allen Locke, leading intellectual W.E.B. Du Bois, educator Mary McLeod Bethune, activists Walter White and Charles S. Johnson, actors Paul Robeson, Charles Gilpin, and Rose McClendon, and the array of Harlem Renaissance writers and artists from the cohort with whom she edited the radical journal Fire: Wallace Thurman, Langston Hughes, Gwendolyn Bennett, Richard Bruce Nugent, Aaron Douglas, and John Davis, as well as satirist George Schuyler, novelists Jessie Fawcett and Nella Larson, and poets Claude McKay and Countee Cullen, among others. The white men associated with the Harlem Renaissance, writer and honorary insider Carl Van Vechten, writers Sherwood Anderson and Waldo Frank, playwrights Eugene O'Neill, Paul Green, and Mark Connolly, editor-satirist H.L. Mencken, activist Max Eastman, folklorists Rourke Bradford and John Lomax, German artist Winold Reiss, anthropologists Franz Boas and Melville Herskovitz, philanthropists Arthur and Joel Spingarn and Edwin Embry also proved easy to research. But the white women were a problem. It seemed that there was virtually no information available about some of them. Many, such as Charlotte Osgood Mason, a wealthy patron known as the Dragon Lady of Harlem, were described with the same few sentences in every source on the Harlem Renaissance, sentences that I eventually learned were wrong, although not before I too had committed some of them to print. We have documented every other imaginable form of female identity in the Jazz Age: the new woman, the spinster, the flapper, the Gibson girl, the bachelor girl, the bohemian, the 20s mannish lesbian, the suffragist, the invert, and so on. But until now, the full story of the white women of Black Harlem, the women collectively referred to as Miss Anne, has never been told. White women who wrote impassioned pleas such as A White Girl's Prayer about their longings to escape the curse of whiteness have rarely been regarded seriously. Some believed they should not be. The press sexualized and sensationalized Miss Anne, often portraying her as either monstrous or insane. To blacks, she was unpredictable, as likely to sentimentalize a gleeful, trusting, eye-rolling pickaninny, as Edna Barrett did on The Poet's Page, or to claim that she could speak for black desires to murder crackers, as Nancy Cunard did there also, as she was to question or criticize her own status. And so, blacks did not necessarily welcome her presence either, although they often sidestepped saying so publicly or in print. Miss Anne crops up in Harlem Renaissance literature as a minor character, a befuddled dilettante or overbearing patron whose presence in cabarets or political meetings spawns outbreaks of racial violence. Occasionally she is caricatured in black newspapers, as in a cartoon image of white women flocking to throw gold, jewels, and cars at one sexy young black man, known in those days as a sheik. Relying on these stock characters, we might believe that she was found only in cabarets,